production possibilities frontier. We're going to construct one for a highly simplified economy. This economy only has two industries, apples and oranges, and its total productive capacity can be divided into 3 units. Again, for simplicity, let's call each of those productive units workers. It has a labor force of 3. Each worker can produce either 1 apple for the year or 2 oranges. Let us now calculate all of the combinations of apples and oranges that can be produced by this economy. If all the workers are in apples, then we get 3 apples and no oranges. If 2 are in apples and 1 in oranges, then we can have 2 apples and 2 oranges. Going along in this way, we can have 1 apple and 4 oranges, or no apples and 6 oranges. Let us plot all of these production combinations on a graph in which we have oranges on the vertical axis and apples on the horizontal axis. If all 3 are in apples, we get 3 apples and no oranges. Or we can have 2 apples and 2 oranges. Or 1 apple and 4 oranges. Or no apples and 6 oranges. Those points represent all of the possible production combinations. And if we think of each of these units, apples and oranges, as divisible, which would be possible if each orange actually represented 1,000,000 oranges, then we can have combinations of apples and oranges that are not discrete units, that represent fractions, in which case the production possibilities frontier would incorporate all of the points in between those points shown on the diagram. That is the production possibilities frontier for this economy. And it illustrates which production combinations are possible and which are unreachable. If there's a point inside the boundary, it represents a production combination, 1 orange and 1 apple, in this case, that is not only possible, but it's possible without employing all of your productive capacity. If there's a combination on the boundary, it is possible, but requires all of your productive capacity to be employed. And if there's a point outside the boundary, such as 3 oranges and 3 apples, that combination is not possible given the limited resources of this economy. As an aside, note that the production possibilities frontier illustrates the concept of opportunity cost. Suppose we decided we wanted 1 more apple. That would require shifting productive capacity from oranges into apples. The only way to have 1 more apple is to have 2 fewer oranges. 2 oranges are the opportunity cost of having 1 more apple. And thereby, we see that the slope of the production possibilities frontier represents the opportunity cost of apples. So, the production possibilities frontier is defined as the locus of points representing all the feasible production combinations utilizing all productive capacity. But realistically, production possibilities frontiers are unlikely to be straight lines, because in the real world, diminishing returns is going to set in at some point. Let us show how diminishing returns changes the shape of the production possibilities frontier. We had assumed that all the workers employed in an industry are equally productive and therefore add the same amount to total output. But if we assume instead diminishing returns, and that diminishing returns sets in immediately, then the first worker is the one that will add the most to production. The second worker will add less, and the third will add less still. And similarly for oranges. Now let us recalculate the production possibilities. We can have 6 apples and no oranges, 5 apples and 3 oranges, 3 apples and 5 oranges, or no apples and 6 oranges. If we plot these combinations, we see that we get a production possibilities frontier that is concave to the origin. This is what a more realistic production possibilities frontier would look like. And the application of this to real economies is that not that an economy has to have only 2 industries, but that however many industries and however varied the products of an economy, it can always be divided into 2 categories, into goods on the one hand and services on the other, or into civilian products and military products. So the 2-dimensional production possibilities frontier is perfectly general and can be applied to an actual economy.